When you take a look at the candidates, you can't exactly think that there's going to be a terrible break from status quo, or will there be? Do you think that the market has got fed up and investors have got fed up with the BO just sitting on its hands and bunkering down on yield curve control?
Look, I mean, the interesting thing is, first of all, you know, whatever the market thinks, it doesn't matter, because what we've learned over the last 10 years is that, thank you, the Bank of Japan is boss. They do control the yield curve. And, you know, just the move that we got in December lays a path towards a potential exit, you know, from yield curve control. But for all intents and purposes, it's the Bank of Japan that decides. And more importantly, it's the Japanese elite. It's the Japanese establishment that will decide. Because the one thing that we know is no rebel is going to be appointed. No outsider is going to be appointed. Whoever will run the Bank of Japan after Kuroda will be very much part and parcel of the coordinated Kishida administration. So I don't think that there's going to be upheaval.
There might not be upheaval, but will there be changes in terms of monetary policy? And how difficult will that be to achieve without a massive dislocation in both the yen and bond markets, which of course could have a ripple around global bond markets as well?
And you make the important point. There's obviously a risk of that, and people point to England and the recent disaster that happened there with Liz Truss as Prime Minister. You know, I think you know, two things. You know, Japan is the world's largest creditor country, very different from the UK, very different from Australia, very different from the United States. And as a result of that, thank you, they've got more money coming in than going out. They are actually in control. And the second thing is that the Japanese government, whether we like it or not, is actually incredibly coordinated. So I think that the risk of a severe disruption is actually very, very unlikely. Now, what is important to point out is that, you know, the goal of Governor Kuroda has actually been achieved in the sense of that, yes, it is sayonara deflation here in Japan. We've got price increases. There's evidence that we now got demand pull inflation, and you do have wage increases starting to gather momentum. So from that perspective, it is a generational change, a once in a generational change, and Governor Kuroda deserves a lot of the credit for it.